Inter ea legione quam secum habitabat, militibusque, qui ex Provincia convenerant, ad lacu Lamanno, qui influmen Rhodanum influit, ad montem Iuram, qui fines sequenorum ab Helvetiis dividit, milia passum 15 murum in altitudinem pedum sedecem fossumque perducit. Okay, inter ea, meanwhile, notice ea legione here is an ablative phrase, and then Caesar gives us quam secum habebat, which is a relative clause describing the legion. And then we get another ablative militibusque. And Caesar is following the same pattern. He gives us an ablative and another relative clause to describe it. So, whatever it is that has to do with something with this legion, and this describes it, I think you can handle that on your own. And with the soldiers, this describes the soldiers. Again, that's not too complicated. Notice how the que here connects those two ablatives, legione and militibus. And we will keep going. We don't know what's going on, but it has to do with this legion and with these soldiers. From Lake Geneva, prepositional phrase, nice big chunk there. Oh, and then, look, another relative clause to describe Lake Geneva. What do we know about Lake Geneva? Qui influmen Rhodanum influit. That's not so bad. To Mount Jura, and guess what? Relative clause and, a prepositional phrase, and another relative clause. Caesar is basically giving us all the nouns in the sentence with relative clauses describing them. We've got an ablative, two ablatives here, prepositional phrase, relative clause, prepositional phrase, another relative clause. Inside this one, we've got a subject, we have a accusative, a genitive, and a prepositional phrase, but we're still waiting for the main sentence. Milia passum 15 murum. Oh, look, we've got a wall. That's our direct object of the main sentence. It's a wall about, wait, that number isn't 15, it's actually 18. About 18 miles long. And let's see, what else do we have here? Notice we're going to break this here. We have another thing. In height, 16 feet in height. Oh, here it is. What is 16 feet in height or depth? Because altitudo can be height or depth. A ditch. So we've got one direct object here and one direct object here. We still don't have the subject or the main verb yet. Oh, and here it is, perducit. There's the verb, and it's the understood subject, of course, as Caesar. So the main sentence is, Caesar did this to a wall 18 miles long, and he did this perducit to a ditch that is about 16 feet deep. What did he do? Well, what would you do? What are the possibilities for perducit? The verb, the root means to lead, which kind of doesn't make sense because you can't lead a wall. But remember, per is an intensifier. So if you're like leading and very intensely, maybe you're making it happen, inducing it, causing it. So he caused a wall to be built, or he constructed a wall. How big? This big. 18 miles long, 16 feet deep. And how did he do it? He did it by means of this legion and those soldiers. Where did he do it? It talks about it. It goes from Lake Lemanus to Mount Jura. Continuing on to the next sentence. Eo opere perfecto, praesidia disponit, castella communit, quo facilius si se invito transire conentur prohibere possit. Okay, we've got eo opere perfecto. Hopefully you are an enterprising Latin student and you recognize that this is a chunk. Notice we've got three ablative things in a row. Eo is a demonstrative adjective, opere is a noun, and perfecto is a participle. What kind of construction is that when you have an ablative noun and an ablative participle? Ablative absolute. And we always translate that with the noun, and then you say the participle. With the noun having been participled, with this job having been completed. And then Caesar gives us a list of things. Praesidia disponit. Notice we've got a direct object and a verb. And then we have another direct object and a verb. So we've got Caesar probably did this, he's the understood subject, to that, and he did this to that. Quo facilius. Oh, so this is interesting. Hopefully by now you are not tricked by the fact that quo could be ut. It could be a relative clause of purpose. Quo facilius prohibere possit is that main relative clause there. And we know that because possit is subjunctive. By which, in order that with which thing, he would be able to prohibere. Facilius here is a comparative adverb more easily. So he places garrisons, and he does this to the castellas, and it's like he builds or fortifies the castellas, so that with this more easily he would be able to stop those random barbarians if, here's the clause there, and it's not that bad, if se invito transire conentur. Notice se invito is another ablative absolute. This is a more rare one, a little less common. It's got a noun, a pronoun, and an adjective with him being unwilling. Instead of a noun and a participle, this is an ablative absolute with a noun and an adjective. With him being unwilling, i.e., if with Caesar being unwilling, those people, probably the Helvetians, should try to cross. So Caesar is planning everything in the event that the barbarians do not listen to him.